I was 12 years old and I saw a headline in a newspaper in bold letters that Jews were being slaughtered in Europe. And I have never forgotten that image. And as a result of that, I began to think more about the Holocaust. The center has grown since I first came on board, and I'm very, very proud.
The Holocaust Center means a lot to me. My father got released miraculously from Sachsenhausen concentration camp. Once I started speaking, I really felt that I was liberated a second time.
My name's Nancy Kennedy Barnett, and my father was a Holocaust survivor from Hungary. Dad used to go into the schools and teach about his experiences during the war. My dad passed away, and I realize it's now my responsibility to continue this tradition of teaching. We can never forget.
I feel it's critical that the mission of HERC goes forward for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons why the Holocaust occurred, Jews were vilified, demonized. The propaganda that was kind of put forth made Jews subhuman. We also, on college campuses, have professors who say that the Holocaust just never occurred. So I think it's really critical that we teach students, younger folks, that there truly was a Holocaust, and if we're not careful, if we don't learn the lessons of what happened before, it can happen again.
How many of you have never been in a synagogue before?
Education will overcome fear and prejudice, and I believe that the Holocaust Education Resource Center provides teachers with quality tools and staff to make sure that students in classrooms understand the importance of Holocaust education so that history doesn't repeat itself.
What happens when you hear a Holocaust survivor speak is you become a witness to the Holocaust. And then it's going to be your responsibility to tell his story to other people.
For the last 3 years, we've had a Holocaust survivor come to share his survivor testimony with our students. The students knew the power of his presence.
We were in Lyon, France. If you know, there was a butcher there who rounded up all the Jews he could, worked along with the Germans.
Other students are very unaware of the circumstances that the Holocaust really happened. They just know in general terms what the Holocaust is and what it was, but they never really understand the magnitude of the effects on the Jewish people.
When my dad was killed in Belgium, and that was the 1940 invasion of Luxembourg, my dad was rounded up and put on a train.
The presence of an actual person makes a huge difference in how the story is heard and how the story is owned by a student and fellow faculty members.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's why I want to tell the story of what hatred did to the human beings. And that's why I don't want it to happen again to anybody else. And I got a letter from a little girl. She told me that after she heard my speech, she looked at people a different way than she did before.
For years, our family has had the privilege of honoring the Yom Hashoah essay contest. And it really inspires me and touches me to see the connections that these students are making with their own modern experiences and those of our people, our Jewish people, in the worst period of our history. And I feel very much that we can't change the past. The past is the past. But we can change the future, and the way to do that is to touch and reach out to young people.
They tried to protect us for a long time, because by that time the time I was born, they knew about the Nazis.
And when I was 13 years old, I realized that people my age had no idea what the Holocaust was, and that really scared me. So I decided to get involved with HERC and help educate people my age, as well as educate myself.
I'm committed to the ideals and the changes in the church and the conviction that the terrible history we have in our past has to be changed so that the future will never be a repeat of what's happened in the past. So working with HERC has been an exciting revelation in co-sponsoring a Holocaust Study Institute and taking 20 people to Israel to study. mostly all Catholics and teachers to study at Yad Vashem. This has been one of the highlights of my life and interfaith relations over these many years.
My job is to go into the schools and teach about the Holocaust. Probably the most common one is what we call standing up, where we just teach kids to take a stand against injustice, violence, hatred. And this young man asked me, he said, "Are you Jewish?" And I said, no, I'm not Jewish. I said, "I'm Norwegian Lutheran." And afterwards, he came up to me and he said, "You know, today you taught me that I don't have to be like someone to worry about what happens to them." The work of HERC is so important because we teach about what can happen when hatred is left unchecked. It just simply cannot stand. We have to do our part.
What was the crime of my great-grandparents who were killed in the Holocaust? Our only crime was that they were born Jewish.
We believe in a diverse, multicultural society that rests on the values of dignity and respect to every human being. What's unique about HERC is that we believe that the future generation will learn how to live peacefully and comfortably in that society only if they are willing to take a look into the darkest chapter in the history of humanity, the Holocaust.
I grew up during the time where Hitler was elected and the SS came in with the Gestapo to eliminate the Jewish people.
I think that a lot of times students, one of the most meaningful things for them is to hear from a Holocaust survivor. It's a very unique experience.
After a while, things got worse because there was a lot of killing going on.
Considering the fact, though, that we're nearing a time when these Holocaust survivors are passing away, it's an experience that they won't be able to replicate in the future. And for the students who hear the survivors, that's a really meaningful opportunity.
HERC gives us the incomparable gifts of our Holocaust survivors. The survivors show us the strength of the human spirit, which allowed them to survive and today to thrive and inspire. The joy they take in living provides immeasurable hope to our present and future generations. Elie Wiesel said to forget would be offensive. To forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time. We must remember. And HERC helps us to do just that.
I'd just like to make one statement to young people here. Take advantage of all education that you can possibly get, because more education you obtain, the more doors are going to be open for you in the future. Thank you.
I'm Betty Krystowski. My parents, Rose Krystowski and Arthur Krystowski of blessed memory, are Holocaust survivors. I have the opportunity to tell my parents' story and the stories of many other survivors in order to teach future generations. Nobody should ever again have to go through what they did. We can only accomplish these goals with your help. Thank you for supporting the work we do.